Oh, hello. What does love mean to you? Hi there. I'm Rose Aborizk. I am the author of the newest poetry collection titled In This Macrocosm, There is a Rose. This is a collection of love poems. My best friend Ray designed the cover and did the illustrations that you find all throughout this book. You can find her on Instagram at Little House to Moon. I definitely recommend you go and check out her work. She does art, drawing, she creates sculptures with clay and all different kinds of things. She's just amazing. Go check her out. Yeah, so I'm Finn. I'm a poet, a writer, an author, curator, publisher, self-publisher, singer, custom typewriter poet. I do a couple different things around the writing industry. I also make zines. I just love to experiment and be inspired and try out new things. So yeah, so let's talk about love, why don't we? Love is something that is so often, it surrounds us each and every single day, and it's seen in so many different ways, and it's a beautiful thing, and it comes in so many different forms. It comes in good ways and bad ways and all the in-betweens, and I tried to encapsulate all of that into this collection. I'd like to read a couple poems from it today and talk a little bit about it. Firstly, the title, In This Macrocosm, There is a Rose. I really wanted to bridge the gap between the stars and the cosmos and how it relates to nature and the earth, because at the end of the day, we are surrounded by stars, but we're also surrounded by the earth, and we have all these beautiful things around us. We have the flowers and the plants and the nature and the trees, but at night we can look up and see the moon and the stars and the planet shining at us, and I think it all comes down to love. Always. So this is a collection of heartbreak and the unexpected love that you find after heartbreak, and how to not give up on what it is that you want, and to always be open to it, because you never know when love is going to knock on your door. You never know. You never know. You know? You just never know. So I'm going to read a poem called To Speak on Love. Who better to speak on love than someone who has experienced it in all of its many forms? The beautiful, the ugly, the wounded, the tormented, the damned, the lovely, and the beloved. I have searched for love in all of its burdens, and I have clung to it, afraid of it leaving me. Now I search for love in all of its harmony, all of its joy, all of its steadfastness and renewal. I have always received love in all of its many forms, and I have been remade by it. The truest worship being that of a kiss, a presence, a manifestation of souls reflected into each other. I wonder how many times I have looked into my reflection and neglected to wipe the mirror clean of all the residue. I wonder how many times I have looked into my reflection and seen a cloudiness, a fog, a mirror stain that formed a map, leading me towards the destiny of all I had ever wanted. Who better to speak on love than someone who has experienced it in all of its many forms? That is the opening poem. If you like that, then I encourage you to check out the rest of it. You can find my book on Amazon. You can purchase it directly through me, which if you do that, you can get like a signed copy with some other extra goodies. This book was all of the collections that I have worked on have, everything I work on, I always say represents a different chapter of my life and different things that I'm going through. And I had been wanting to write a collection of love poems for a long time. I feel that almost anything that I have written in the past, it boils down to love in some form or another, right? And I feel like, especially right now with everything going on in the world and all around us, all of the chaos that surrounds us, it's more important than ever to hold on to it in whichever form that it may come in, right? You can find beautiful love through friendships, through family. It doesn't always have to be romantic. One of my greatest loves has always been writing. It has always been that thing that has been there for me. It's been my form of therapy. It's been my form of expression. And I do channel a lot of that into this book as I'm talking about feeling through the love that was once had, working through heartbreak, and allowing myself to be open to new love and finding new love, a beautiful love that I don't take for granted ever. I feel like whenever you write, depending on how you write, it's always different. If you're writing on your notes app, it's going to be a little bit different. You're writing on a computer, in a notebook, on a typewriter, it's always going to be, I feel like it always makes me think just slightly differently depending on how I'm writing something down and how I'm forming my thoughts together, right? So I have a poem that's called Writing Instruments, and it's about all of that. Fun fact, I wrote most of this manuscript on my typewriter, and the font that you see that the font that the book is in is actually the same font as my typewriter, which is pretty cool, I think. So here's Writing Instruments. When you use different writing instruments, I have found, for myself at least, that the way I write has had to adjust and change based upon what I am creating with. If I use a pen, I can write quickly or slowly. If I'm brainstorming, I can just scribble out my thoughts. And if I'm writing with my ink pen, I can deliberately draw out each letter, almost as if the words I draw are a painting on canvas. If I'm jotting an idea down in my phone, my notes app can fill up and hold the words I document with each press of the digital key. When I use my computer, my thoughts flow through me and I can backspace easily and get a full page view. Yet on a typewriter, I'm forced to take my time, a typo being nearly inevitable. I can strike it through with a pen, showing the reality that I am not a robot. I am not an AI machine spitting out words. I am a vessel sharing my experiences. The typewriter holds old secrets that even I may never learn, the seasoned scent of use and time embedded in the soft keys, each letter asking for intention and care. When I'm using different writing instruments, I play different songs, and different sounds and mindsets emerge as I ask my fingers to translate the verbiage and vocabulary from my mind. That's my take on writing instruments. I always encourage everyone to experiment with how you write. If you find yourself feeling stagnant, try to just make a slight adjustment. If you normally write on your laptop, try writing in a notebook. If you have a typewriter, try typing on your typewriter. Just try new ways, you know? It's something that's definitely helped me, and it makes me think of the writing process a little differently, because you have to make those slight adjustments, right? Because on a typewriter, you can't just backspace and delete a word. You have to see your thoughts through. And I think that that's such a fun challenge. It's really interesting, and it makes me approach writing in a little differently from how I used to. I'd like to read one more poem from this book called My Valentine, which I wrote for my Valentine. I was hesitant to wrap myself in your spirit. I was a little skeptical and untrusting of love. Then I saw myself referring to you as my partner, referring to you as my boyfriend, referring to you as my love. I couldn't help myself. It just came out, a natural happening that was agreed upon. You were excited about me from the start, and you've chiseled away at the frost that was building up around my heart. You wrapped me in your arms, and all the icicles melted, warming me up from the inside out. Since we first exchanged words, you've been my Valentine. That's a little bit of In This Macrocosm, There's a Rose. Again, go check out Ray's incredible work at Little House to Moon. And if you want kind of, let's see, if you want kind of like where I get a lot of my poetry inspiration from, I carry a collection of Rumi's poetry with me just about everywhere, almost everywhere. Anytime I go to a bookstore, I always go to the poetry section and try to find a collection of Rumi's work that I don't have yet. I just love the way that his words flow. The opening quote in this book is by Rumi, and it says, "You have to keep breaking your heart until it opens." And I think that that really encapsulates this collection as a whole. So yeah, go check it out if you need some reminders of love, or if you need something to help you get through a rough time. And just remember, don't give up, because you never know what's waiting. You never know. Yeah. I also wrote 3 songs for this collection, which you can find on Spotify, under the name Dreams in Hiding. I really felt like I needed to have something else to go with this book. It just felt right. And I decided to write 3 songs for it. They're titled What's Up with All the Other Roses. The second one is called Trust and Fly, and the third one is called When I Wake Up. I really love them. They were originally written as poems, but I couldn't seem to, I don't know. Oh, the third one's called When I See Your Face, not When I Wake Up. Whenever the song starts, it's When I Wake Up. I don't know the title to my own things. It's called When I See Your Face. Anyway, I originally wrote them as poems, and the more I read them over, I was like, there's something a little different about these. I think I want to try to share these in a bit of a different form. So I decided to sing them, and I'm pretty proud of them. Just me and my ukulele, but I'm really proud of them. The song What's Up with All the Other Roses, actually, I had written several years ago, and I was going to release it with a different collection of poetry. And then I was like, it doesn't feel right. So I waited. And then I wrote another collection of poetry, and I was like, okay, I'll release it with that one. And then I was like, doesn't feel right. And I just like kept sitting on it and kept waiting. And eventually, whenever I put this collection together, I was like, I feel like it's time. So it was time, and it's out in the world now, and I'm really proud of it. And I hope that you go and check out my new poetry collection. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening. You can find more of my work on Instagram at dreamsinhiding.writing. That's where I post most of my updates and such. And yeah, hope to see you there. Bye.